Hello, David here again, coming to you with Be in Crypto. Today, we'll be doing a slightly deeper exploration into a topic that manages to come up a lot in these videos, and that's cryptocurrency scams. Unfortunately, as a side effect of the amount of money to be made and currently poor regulation, the world of crypto is fraught with scams and other pitfalls. For this video, the focus will be on actual scams that attempt to deceive their victims in order to steal funds from them. There are other types of nefarious threats out there, of course, like ransomware, but those kinds of attacks are certainly not deceptive, any more than mugging a person on the street would be called a scam. Specifically, in today's video, we'll be covering scam coins, including pump and dumps, Ponzi schemes, or exit scams, scam platforms like fake wallets or exchanges, phishing scams, cryptojacking, and lastly, we'll talk about social media impersonators. By the end, you should have a decent overview of some of the most common threats to cryptocurrency users' funds. So let's not waste another minute and start talking about some scams. Number 1. Scam coins. There's no shortage of coins that have ultimately detrimental effects on their user base. We'll exclude honest mistakes for our purposes here, but that still leaves a wide variety of projects that are specifically deceptive. This could be anything from an asset that simply has no real merit other than the hype generated around it, or it could even be one that literally tries to trick users by looking just like a legitimate coin. Let's start with projects known as pump and dump schemes. The idea here is that the perpetrators create a technically valid crypto token with, again, no real underlying purpose. They may proclaim it has a purpose, but closer examination will always find this to be all hype. Then they put their focus on creating the illusion of demand. This usually includes a PR campaign through social media, as well as probably purchasing some of their own assets internally to imply real volume. The goal is to get FOMO to kick in for potential buyers. Once it does, the perpetrators just watch as the price of the coin goes parabolic, and at some point, once they're satisfied, they sell their stake and reap notable returns. This will then usually trigger the market to take note and begin an avalanche of selling. The price will crash, and generally a handful of hapless users will end up with coins they either can't sell or can only sell for a loss. Pump and dumps are usually also exit scams, meaning the creators always intended to simply disappear once they had made their profits. Technically, exit scams can happen at any time for a project where the community has no real knowledge of who's behind it. However, for obvious reasons, an exit is very commonly preceded by a pump and dump. We should also mention Ponzi schemes. Although this term is often levied against all of crypto by its detractors, it actually doesn't apply to the vast majority. We in fact discussed this mischaracterization in our previous video on common crypto myths, so check that out if you haven't already. However, there are some places where it becomes an appropriate accusation. Any self-proclaimed cryptocurrency that is only offered through a single platform or closed ecosystem of platforms is at risk of being a Ponzi coin. Furthermore, if the main way to earn that asset is based on your own engagement or encouraging others to join, then again, that's a huge red flag. Legitimate assets should allow not only for users to have complete control over personal storage, but should also be more or less available for trade in the larger crypto marketplace. Not every asset needs to be on every exchange, but good ones should be supported on multiple reputable platforms. There's another type of scam coin out there specific to decentralized exchanges like Uniswap. Because of their decentralized nature, anyone can launch a token on many of these dexes. This means they can fairly easily create token pairings that look just like legitimate coins, but are in fact controlled by the attacker. This confuses traders, and inevitably some money gets sent to the wrong asset. This is why we heavily suggest only accessing new pairings by following links posted by official sources, such as the project's website or verified social media accounts. The key to avoiding the rest of these scams is to do some fundamental research. Is a project built on a solid, unique use case, or does the whole campaign seem like propaganda? Are they transparent about the team, the applications, the roadmap? As we always recommend, if you're unsure of a project, go slow and do your homework before putting up any real money. There's plenty of reputable, established, legitimate projects out there that still have huge upside potential, so don't waste your effort looking for the next undiscovered big thing, because that's exactly what these scammers pretend to offer. Number 2. Scam platforms. In addition to nefarious projects, users need to be wary of nefarious platforms for interacting with crypto as well. Exchanges, wallets, pretty much any crypto application you potentially give funds to has to be carefully assessed before doing so. True, if you stick with big names that have wide community approval, you're relatively safe, and this is probably what we would recommend for beginners. However, new offerings are coming along all the time, and not all of them are scams. We don't want to discourage testing new platforms, but we do want to encourage users to be careful when they do so. One of the major risks of a new application or service is, again, exit scams. Just like with a whole crypto project, any wallet or exchange that lacks transparency has every ability to just disappear one day with all funds. This has happened many times in the history of cryptocurrency, and sometimes even from platforms that had been around for years. That's why always knowing who is actually behind a project is essential. Of course, not every project that gets called a scam is one, and sometimes it can be hard to truly say how legitimate a new service is until it has had some time to prove itself. But you should always be able to find some information about the real people running the operation. Number 3. Phishing scams. Just as all of these scams have their roots outside of crypto, phishing scams should be familiar to almost anyone who participates in modern social media. You know the scenario. You receive an unsolicited email, DM, or text that implores you to click on a link either using promises of monetary gain or threats of repercussions if unheeded. Again, most people are aware of this type of scam, but some are still vulnerable. When it comes to crypto, often these types of tactics will either ask you to share your private keys or, as mentioned, follow a link that will install some kind of malware. In the former case, understand that no matter who the message claims to be from, nobody else ever needs to know your private keys and no reputable service will ever ask for them. Really, that's the most important thing to remember. Nobody should ever know your private information, so don't give it to them because they are more than likely scamming you. The latter possibility, that you're encouraged to click a link, is basically a different version, but the same advice applies. Coinbase, Binance, the IRS, nor anyone else is going to message you and ask you to follow a link for any reason. Even if someone official should message you, they'll simply ask you to go log into your account through official channels, not some link. If there's a link, it's almost certainly a scam. Usually, the link will take you somewhere that automatically installs some type of malware, such as address replacement software. These programs simply run quietly in the background of your phone or computer and watch for a cryptocurrency address to be copied into the clipboard. Once an address is detected, the malware replaces the address with one controlled by the attacker. If the sender doesn't double check, they will unwittingly give their funds directly to the scammers. This is why we always recommend double and triple checking receiving addresses before clicking send, as it's probably the most effective way to get ahead of this type of attack. That and, of course, having a clean system in the first place. However, there is another type of malware that is often the point of these scams, which brings us to our next topic. Number 4. Cryptojacking. Cryptojacking is when malicious code gets onto your system and then subsequently uses your computer's resources in the background to mine cryptocurrency and send it to the attackers. If the malware is well made, many users won't notice anything is wrong, but there are some notable red flags. Basically, if your computer suddenly is running much slower than usual and or working hard when it shouldn't be. For example, the cooling fans running on high with no clear reason is one of the more obvious symptoms. This type of malicious code can get onto your system from the previously mentioned phishing scams, but also by users being careless about the sites they access and not having any form of security measures in place. We just said this, but having a clean system is pretty important when dealing with cryptocurrency, so taking precautions is always the best practice. Consider using a computer that is only for crypto and a different system for casual browsing and other uses. Or simply be strict with yourself as to what sites you access on your crypto PC, and implement proper safety measures like a browser with strong security settings, as well as possibly some form of anti-malware software. The point is, if you're both careful and implement proper protections, the chances of you ever getting infected with cryptojacking software or other malware becomes much, much smaller. Number 5. Impersonators. Lastly, we wanted to talk about a scam that's far too common on Twitter as well as Telegram groups and other social media, and that's impersonators. Basically, scammers make bogus accounts that try their best to look like the actual accounts of reputable members of the community. They do this to, of course, gain the trust of those who were fooled. This technique is often used in conjunction with a phishing attempt like we just mentioned. Alternatively, the attackers will push some angle that involves sending them some crypto with the promise that doing so will get you even more in return. You know the old, please send me some money, I'll send twice as much back. While many people wouldn't fall for this, the attackers are counting on two things. One, that some people will be fooled into thinking they really are whoever they're impersonating. This will give potential victims the confidence to send the money because surely this known personality wouldn't lie. The other thing is that these scams are very cheap to set up, but they are often blanketed across social media, meaning that if only a fraction of a percent of users who see it actually fall for it, then this is probably still profitable to the attackers, hence why these scams continue to proliferate. The best way to avoid these is, again, research and going slow, but also simply never ever send anyone from social media your crypto. Ever. Nobody ever gives away free money. Ever. By the way, if you're looking for a crypto exchange that definitely is safe for buying, selling, and holding, then why not head over to the Stormgain cryptocurrency exchange? Stormgain is not only one of the hottest up-and-coming exchanges out there, it also offers several valuable perks, such as a loyalty program, bonuses for referrals, annual interest on crypto deposits, and using the official app, you can even begin cloud mining cryptocurrency for free today. If you're looking to purchase Bitcoin, Ethereum, stablecoins, or dozens of other cryptocurrencies, then just know that Stormgain offers a bit more than other exchanges, so be sure to check them out. Okay, that should wrap it up for today. Every scam we covered here has several variations, and the ways that attackers work to trick users is always evolving. So be vigilant and stay up to date on the latest cryptocurrency news. You can do that by heading over to beinccrypto.com, where you'll find daily updates, analysis, and more. Also, don't forget about our other content right here on YouTube, such as interviews, educational videos, and our bi-weekly news show. And lastly, if trading is your thing, then come join our trading community on Telegram, where you'll get access to the latest technical analysis from our top traders. As always, thank you everyone for watching, and we'll see you here again with another video real soon.